Hi everyone, welcome back to the Spooky Movie Club. It is week 2 of Sci-Fi Horror Month. We watched Alien. Now, right out of the gate, I have to make a confession. I've never seen this movie before. We were watching it and I had no recollection of anything that happened except for obviously the most famous scene where the alien bursts out of the stomach, and I probably have seen that scene so many times that I felt that I've seen Alien before, but haven't. That was my first time, so a great perspective to go off of in this review. I'm going to read the description inside the box, but if you want to skip ahead to next week's spooky movie or the discussion, I'm going to leave timestamps below as always. This is the anthology box set. We actually got this for $5 at the Goodwill. I didn't know that. If you want to hunt for DVDs, go to the Goodwill, because ours has some good things. I love how this is set up because it's set up like a book. So this is the just Alien is very small. So I don't know if it's probably different on like an actual Blu-ray or something like this, but this is the description it has in here. The terror begins as the crew of the space tug Nostromo responds to a distress signal from a desolate planet, only to discover a deadly life form that breeds within human hosts. That's it. I think that is, look at here, is all that there needs to be. I think that's the perfect, simple description, and then you just watch it unfold in front of your eyes. So yeah, let's get into my 3 things. So the first thing I want to discuss is Ripley, our main character, our lead actress. First of all, Sigourney Weaver looked stunning. She was beautiful. I was like, what's happening? She was 30 years old when she made this movie. She looked so young and youthful and beautiful. I was taken away by her beauty. So give it up for Sigourney Weaver, looking amazing as always. But also, I loved her character. I loved Ripley as a character. I thought that she was well balanced. She was super smart. She was the only one making the tough decisions in the beginning, the right calls. Okay, she was like, no, we can't. When you're off the ship, I'm the head, and we can't break quarantine. These are the rules. And then the stupid robot man lets everybody in. That was his, like, programming or whatever. But she was making all the right calls, questioning the scientist. You would think that if she was like that the whole time, she wouldn't be a believable character. Like, what person is really like that all the time? But they actually added in some emotion and flaws to her. Like, as things start to deteriorate on the ship, she gets more and more making decisions not with her head but with her emotions and her heart. One scene in particular is when I'm thinking of is when she gets to Mother and she's typing in what was the, override, the protocol, whatever, and she finds out that the robot guy had reprogrammed Mother to wake everybody up to land on the ship as a fake distress call, and she starts crying, like she starts getting really emotional. You never see that side of her before. But then she kind of snaps out of it and starts to kick ass again. And then another scene when she has to wait in the escape ship for her other 2 friends to come back. She hears the cat. And it's like, logically, you're like, don't go get the cat, Sigourney. That's a bad choice. Do not do that. Don't leave that area. But she does because things are going crazy around her. It's like, I have to grab the cat. She's not thinking with her head. She's thinking with her heart in that moment in time. And I thought that is a very human aspect. That's honestly what I would do. I'm sitting there watching the screen yelling, Sigourney, don't do that. That's stupid. But if I was waiting and trying to get on a ship, but then I hear Rump Roast running around somewhere, I'm going to go and try to find Rump Roast, even though it's probably not the smartest decision. So I loved her character. I thought she was well balanced. She was smart, but wasn't too smart. She felt really human and relatable. So I loved Sigourney Weaver's character. What did you think? Did you love any other character more, like Dallas? Let me know. The second thing I want to talk about is I have to bring up the technology. So this movie was made in what was released in 1979, so probably made in like 77, 78. And the technology on the ship was basically probably what they had in 78 or 79, like little box computers, green, 011, very old school technology on a ship that's supposed to be from 2126 or whatever, like super far into the future, and the technology just didn't feel updated. Like they didn't think about what this would look like in that time. Even the assistant mother was the worst. She was no good at anything. She was like the Siri of virtual assistants. I cannot compute. She knew nothing. And when you compare this to like 2001 A Space Odyssey, because when I feel like I did this like comparison to 2001 A Space Odyssey last time, but Event Horizon I did. But the technology that they came up with in their minds in that movie was made in like the 60s. And the fact that they like predicted iPads and video calling and HAL 9000 that was like an assistant that talked to you like a human and could like deduce reasoning, and all of that is so well thought out, and actually most of it is coming true now as we speak. I felt like this alien technology future kind of fell flat. It's like you couldn't think of anything that might have been futuristic to put on this ship. However, talking about the ship was very like 1980s ship, but then these people of this time were able to make a robot that looked exactly like a human, talked like a human, convinced everybody that they were a human. So that whole technology thing kind of threw me off. I didn't think they melded together. Like how does a society make a robot that looks like a human, but also not have really advanced looking ship parts? I thought that didn't really cohesively go together. And even when they find out the guy's a robot, they're not shocked that this is a robot. They're like, oh man, so it's a robot. It's like, so there are other robots out there. Like this is not the first one you've ever seen in your life. So I was a little confused by the technology, especially since I've just recently seen 2001 and I'm comparing the two. So I just feel like I wish they would have gone a little more creative, thinking about what a ship would look like from 2126. I just feel like they just kind of took technology that was already around them and stuck it in the ship. And the third thing I want to talk about is the alien, the xenomorph. You don't find out what it is in this film, though. It's just the alien being. They don't know what it is yet. I have to talk about him because he's like the main character. I was kind of disappointed that we don't see a lot of him. You only see him sometimes. Not all that. He's like more of like a stalking type of horror. I just kind of wanted to see more of the alien. It didn't really scare me to have this whole stalking situation. I did love kind of how he kind of grows and all the practical effects with that, how it's like a human host and he feeds off of whatever is inside your body, I guess. And he's like this little wormy thing, and then he scurries around the ship and sheds his skin. I think you only find one skin, and then he's already like 1,000 feet tall. But hey, maybe the environment was right on the ship for him to grow that quickly. I thought he looked scary, though. I thought he looked very realistic. I mean, practical effects people, why did we stop? This was in 79, and this alien looked amazing. Like it was, I could touch it. Nowadays, they would just like CGI thing and be done with it. But practical effects people, let's keep it going. I don't know why we have to stop. There is one scene in particular, though, with the alien that I was kind of like, this is so stupid. This is so silly, is when Dallas is in the air vent and he's trying to find him, and he has his torch, and the xenomorph shows up and he goes like this. And they hold that shot for too long, and it was just so silly. And I'm like, what does this remind me of? There's another movie I've seen where a person does that same thing, and they hold that pose. I'm thinking. And then TK goes, are you thinking of Friday the 13th Part 3? And I said, yes. When Jason gets hit with the axe, and he kind of pauses for a second, and then he goes like this. And he holds that same pose, and I'm like, that is the same pose. That is the same. They do the same thing. I've rewatched that clip and then the alien clip over again. It's the same thing. They hold it for the same amount of time. I feel like in editing this, they held it for too long. They should have chopped it, a couple frames off because it holds for too long and it's too silly. And Friday the 13th, it's 3D, so they kind of wanted that whole different perspective, so I get that. But in Alien, it didn't really work. But now it got me thinking, like, who did it better? Who did the pose better, Jason or Zeno? Me and Zeno are on, like, first name basis. We give nicknames to each other. I'm calling him Zeno. Also, who would win? Who do you think would win in a fight? When I was, like, Googling to find the pose in the videos, there's a lot of who would win in a fight, the Xenomorph or Jason. Who do you think? I think I'm going to go with... I'm going to go with Xenomorph. So my final thoughts on Alien are, well, now that we know that this was actually my first time watching it, which is kind of hilarious, I think it was great. I loved it a lot. I loved the practical effects, as I said. I loved the story. I loved Ripley as a character. I think I'm definitely going to rewatch it in order to watch the director's cut. I don't exactly know how much longer that is, but I'd be interested to see what they added to that. And I obviously have to see all the other movies in the franchise, like Aliens, money sign, dollar sign, where there's multiple aliens, I guess. I've never seen any of them, apparently, so I have to go through this whole anthology. But I'm sure Alien will still probably reign supreme for me. So now that we are finished with Alien, I hope you all enjoyed. Let me know what you thought about the movie below. If it was your first time, your 100th time. We are now moving on to the third movie, week 3. I've never seen this before. I didn't even know it existed until like a month ago when we were to decide to do Sci-Fi Horror Month. This is an unusual premise, so I'm told, and it has an alien segue apparently because it's the co-writer of Alien also kind of made this movie. So next week's spooky movie is Life Force. Apparently it's vampires in space, is what I'm told. I don't know exactly what that means and what will come about that, but it looks like we're sucking the life force out of someone, according to this front of the steel book here. And then on the back here, it looks like we have bats and people in prisms, naked. Not really sure what's happening here, but I guess we'll find out. So that wraps it up for this week's Spooky Movie Club. I hope you enjoyed watching Alien, and I hope you're excited about Life Force. We will do the viewing party on Wednesday at 6:30 Pacific Standard Time on Discord, and then we're going to do the live discussion on Twitch Saturday, 5:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We are going to start Alien Isolation. I'm excited about it because if I get to play Ripley, I actually get to play her daughter. That's fine. I guess I'll take it. So I could be a badass lady fighting a xenomorph. So I hope you can join us for that. If you can't, no worries. I'll be back here on Sunday with the review. Bye.